What's up, Halo fans, and welcome back to another episode of How to Play Halo Reach. This time we're going to be looking at MLG Countdown, and we're going to be once again looking at the Capture the Flag variant. Now, Countdown is a multi-level map. It has 3 different layers of elevation, which makes it very interesting for a Capture the Flag map. Now, much like Zealot, the first thing you're going to want to do when you spawn into the map is immediately fire your DMR. Your opponents are going to be spawning straight across from you in their window. The start of the game is just a straight shootout. Now, one thing you want to make sure that you're definitely doing is not away from your keyboard at the start of this game. You can see an example of this and how devastating it can be. Moj gets taken down almost immediately just for those few seconds of being away, putting his team at a disadvantage. Now, much like we did on Zealot, the first thing we're going to talk about is map control. What areas of the map should you control to run your opponent's flag back? Now, the first thing you want to do is move through your jet. We're going to move up to the drop down here and through to S2 and into our opponent's jet, into our opponent's drop down, and finally into their flag. Now, this is the route you're going to want to take to run that flag back, but also where you're going to want to pick up your kills. The reason this is such a good run and a good place to run the flag on Countdown is quite simply because of the levels of elevation on this map. If you run out in the open, there's so many angles you could be taken from. But from S2, you're protected from the level above you, you're protected from the basement spawns, and it's the quickest and safest way to get your opponent's flag back to your base. Next up is spawns. You managed to get some kills. We've got to know where our opponents are respawning. One area you can see there that I'm shooting is the low door. That's a very common spawn point here on Countdown. The next one up is going to be the basement. Make sure your reticle is locked onto that basement if you pick up 2 or 3 kills as a team. Next one, as we move through S3, is a very common spawn point, and it's outside here towards your opponent's background. Now, in my opinion, if you get them spawning here, it's a pretty much a guaranteed cap for you just from the distance of the respawners to where that flag will be run. Your opponents can also respawn here on their back ramp, as well as sometimes on their own flag. The next thing that I really want to stress here on Countdown Capture the Flag is the importance of power weapon control. Now, power weapons are always going to give you an advantage in Halo, but here on Reach, the rocket launcher is so effective here on Countdown Capture the Flag. Reason being, you can pretty much stop every single player moving through S2, through the jets, with just one single rocket. A lot of times you'll pick up a double kill with just one rocket, so make sure you're timing that rocket launcher, and if you do, call out to a teammate to get that flag running, because you'll be able to do a great job of converting. The sniper rifle is also a very effective weapon, of course, to pick up. However, I would certainly put it secondary to that rocket launcher. But with the sniper rifle, try and keep control of S2 still. Use these angles, line up your shots, pre-aim these corners to make sure that your teammate can run that flag through and make a comfortable cap and put your team in the lead. Now, you might have noticed here on Countdown Capture the Flag, there are jetpacks available to use under the drop downs and in the jet room. Now, one thing I want to point out that a lot of people might not be aware of is one of the new settings that's been added to the PC version of Halo Reach. If you scroll down through your controller settings, if you are on a controller, you can see the option to turn on Jumper. Now, this is super useful if you're trying to use a jetpack and keep both of your thumbs on the stick of your controller. What it means is you can press jump once and then hold it down a second time to make that jetpack engage and allow you to move around the map. One super useful place to use this is to jump up into these attics behind an unsuspecting opponent and lay some shots down. Now we're going to talk about what to do when things aren't going so well. And if you're on the respawn, for example in basement here, do not walk out into the bottom of the map. It's such an easy kill zone. Reposition yourself here in the jet, move through S2 and refight for map control. If you spawn outside, you have a couple of options here. You're a long way away from the flag, but you do have the option to be a little bit sneaky and try and flank behind your opponents here as they move that flag through the jet towards that capture point. Just be aware of grenades flying in towards you. The other option from that spawn outside is to move towards S3. Now, it's very unlikely you're not going to get shot in this position, but if some teammates are doing some work, you can land some nice grenades onto that flag, onto that low door, and potentially stop that flag as you move in for a return. So that's it then for another episode of How to Play Halo Reach. This time we covered Countdown Capture the Flag. Hopefully there's some more tips and little ideas for you guys to implement into your gameplay. And in the meantime, best of luck in the playlist, and I'll see you next time.